have Tyler Rendall's new bike for 2025, the TRRS RR 300cc. Now, if you fancy a cheeky little discount code off of the products used on this bike build, make sure you watch this video in full to get yourself some discount off of all the products used on Tyler's bike. Let's begin. Now, Tyler's been a team rider for a number of years now, and I've got to know him rather well. With riding events like the Scottish 6 Day and things like that. So it feels quite nice to be able to build him this special bike for next year. And now this bike is jam-packed with goodies. They come with a lot of good parts as standard, but we've chucked in some extras for good measure. Now, engine-wise, the bike is completely stock. It's got plenty of power out of the factory, and he really likes the clutch on the RR, so nothing there has been changed at all. Tyler's tested a bike for a couple of months behind the scenes, and he didn't want to make any changes, which is always a nice start. Now, starting at the cockpit, Tyler uses Renthal 4.5-inch rise handlebars. This year he's gone for the titanium colour, won't show up as many marks for those little crashes he has. He also uses Renthal soft grips. Now, the soft compound are super tacky and super grippy, so that's really good if you want to be able to hold on. Now, the only issue with the super soft grips is they wear out incredibly quickly, so he does have to change them quite regularly, and they can also tear that little bit simpler because of how tacky and super supple they are. Tyler's using a quick action throttle. He's using the Apico billet fast action throttle, and he's also using a Jitsi throttle wheel, so that makes the throttle action super smooth and super lightweight. He's using original brake tech levers, clutch and brake, but you'll see on the brake side he's using a CSP spring-loaded adjuster, so he can dial and change the front brake biting point as and when throughout a trial. On the clutch side, however, he's still using the original locking nut and Allen key. Once he's got that clutch biting point in place, he doesn't want it to move, as that could affect his riding a little bit, so he keeps that nice and locked in place, so there's no chance of it moving when he's riding an event. The bike comes standard with tech forks, and he's got some lovely Jitsi carbon fibre fork guards with our new team sponsors decals on them. Now, the bike comes with Galfa discs front and back, and it also comes with the Galfa red pads. We keep saying it, personally we think they're the best brake on the market, so Tyler's not changing that from standard. He likes that. The bike comes as standard with Michelin X11 trial competition tyres, and that's actually Tyler's tyre of choice. A little bit harder wearing and a slightly stiffer sidewall on the back, which is ideal for Tyler with some of the big impacts he has with some of the trials he rides. A little bit less likely to get a puncture as well on the rocky terrain. Tyler's also using the Renthal bar pad. It just has a little bit more extra protection than the standard TRRS bar pad that comes on the bike, just in case he has any big offs. You might notice on the headlight, although he's still got the plastic surround, we've removed all of the lighting from the bike, so there's no excess wires travelling around the headstock, so it's a lot neater. It's unnecessary for Tyler to have lights on the bike, so we whip those off, declutter the bike as much as possible, keeping it as basic as possible. So moving down to in front of the radiator, Tyler's using the TRRS splash guard. This has an extended flap that helps keep all the muck from going into the radiator. Perfect for wet, muddy southern trials or things like the Scottish 6 Day. It really keeps all of the muck out of the radiator, helping to keep the bike nice and cool. Now, Tyler's running the CSP bash plate. It's a little bit stronger, a little bit wider, and then also it's got some attachments on the bottom to be able to have some pause, which will mean that when Tyler's trying to get over rocks and has to use a sump, those claws will go in place and it will stop the bike from sliding back quite as easily. So hopefully you can salvage what's going on and be able to get over without having a five. I've actually used those on my CSP bash plates, and I think it's really handy. We have to go over a lot of logs around this area and they can be super slippery, so having a bash plate that can really bite and grip in can make you feel a lot more confident when going over those types of terrain. On the water pump, Tyler's using a CSP alloy impeller. Now, on the impeller, it's got slightly bigger fins and they're also a bit more of an aggressive cut to them, so that means it forces the water around a bit quicker to help keep the bike running as cool as possible. Tyler's going to be doing events like the Scott Trail, the Scottish 6 Day, big long days out on the bike. So anything we can do to help keep the bike nice and cool throughout those events means the bike will perform at its best. You'll also see that on the bottom of the fuel tank, we've actually heat shrinked the tank. That's to try and keep the heat away on, again, those long events that Tyler will be doing. Down to the carburetor. Tyler's not had a carb for a few years, but on this one we've put the Jitsi idle screw adjuster, and we've also using the BVM Allen keys, and then we've also got one of the Jitsi little seals that go on the top of the carb top. That helps to keep any water from pouring down into the carburetor. It's hard to see it, but this bike's also got a little splash guard around the airbox mouth. Really good little tool to keep water and muck from getting in the airbox at any events. I found them to be really useful. I use one myself on my bike. Footrest. Tyler is actually using the standard TRRS pegs that come on this bike. He likes the position and he likes how grippy they are, so no need to change those. He's sporting the BVM airbox decal. It's a spot that can be a little bit vulnerable for boot rubs, so by putting that protective sticker on there, it just keeps his airbox nice and protected. Now onto the rear silencer. We're using a 2M carbon parts, full carbon rear silencer end tip. Now it's very blingy and it's super lightweight, but that's not the main reason for using this. They're incredibly strong, a lot stronger than the original OEM plastic ones, and with Tyler riding some pretty big events like the British Championships, there are the chances of some pretty big crashes, and we found these to be super reliable and very, very strong, so they take the impacts incredibly well, and they also look cool. The bike this year comes as standard with a tech rear shock. The bike comes with a standard Galfa wavy disc, but we've swapped this one out to one of the FIM approved ones. We find this to be slightly better on brake quality. With the events that Tyler's doing, we find that the FIM one doesn't bend as easy, so if you're going up rocky streams and such, it's so easy to bend a disc if you're not careful, and that's just hopefully going to help prevent that from happening. God knows why, but he's got a purple sprocket on the bike. Jitsi make a wide range of sprockets in a range of different colours, and for some reason Tyler's got a bit of a thing for pink and purple. Don't ask me why, but he is using standard gearing. He found that the factory know what they're doing. Standard gearing seems to be best for this bike and seems to be something that he's enjoying and doesn't feel like he needs to change it. Now, to celebrate Tyler's new ride for 2025, we're offering a 10% discount off of any of the parts used on Tyler's bike build. All you need to use is coupon code Tyler10, and this discount code will run until Christmas Day. So get in there and get yourself some bargains. Hope you enjoyed this bike build. If you did like it, please like and subscribe for more great content. See you again.